It's a sister situation with Sip'n Conversation.
Welcome to a new season of Sip'n Sistaz, and we're kicking this first episode off with a three-part series that we call Then versus Now. And it's all about getting older. So it's like our older self versus our new selves, our younger selves, rather. So we're going to laugh, we're going to talk, and we may even call our younger selves out. So let's start this conversation off, and let's get to talking about our older, the then versus now.
So when we're talking about our then self now, why were we such in a hurry as a young self, versus now? Versus now, are we faster now? Are we slowed down? What has made us just slow down in our lives as our older self versus our younger self? Because we was fast. Everything had to be going. I want this. I can't wait till I get this. Why I can't get this? Instead of just really sitting back and thinking about when did that happen, and would you have changed anything of your younger self?
I would say that now I am more intentional because, like you said, I had this thing when I was young. I wanted to be grown fast, but I wanted to be grown like the grown-ups that I saw in my life. So it wasn't about being my own adult. I wanted to be like people, what I thought being grown meant. So I wanted to be a grown woman, and I wanted to be doing womanly things. And I wasn't intentional about things. I wasn't making plans. And I thought, unrealistically, I believed that things were just going to fall into place. And I couldn't figure out why I kept running into brick walls, and I kept running into big brick walls because I didn't have a plan.
And I wonder how young we're talking, but at some point in my youth, I became scary. Like, just scared. Like, I had fear of traveling too far, fear of, just being outgoing. I wasn't outgoing as a young person. So, and I think I paid for that moving forward, because now my older self just regrets not taking chances and not being so, scary. I think my whole trajectory would have been different had I been a little more outgoing, a little more risk-taking. But
Deidre, Candy, what you think? As a young person, do you think were you more adventurous as a younger person, or do you think you more adventurous as an older person? You do more things now.
I would definitely say I did more things when I was younger, but I'm not doing it now because I'm older. My life is just a little different now than when I was younger. I'm still the same inside. I still want to take chances. I still want to take risks. And I do to a certain degree. But I think that's part of the reason, like Connie said,
I should have been hanging out with you then. So.
Yeah,
but you would have gotten me in trouble, I think.
Indeed, you would have gotten in some trouble.
And I would have been scared to do half the things.
The things. That's right, because I like to do. I'm a risk taker. Now, I'm not one of those. I don't like to ride roller coasters and all that stupid shit. But that's more called like a daredevil, so to speak.
Yes.
Not so much a daredevil, just doing stuff that I could end up dead doing. But I do like to take I like risk. I like to take things that you say, because I feel like if it doesn't work, okay, then what? But at least I tried it. Mm-hmm. Nothing is going to happen if it don't work. I can always get up and go in the other direction.
Probably something different, just listening to you, is by me saying that I was kind of fearful where you were more of a risk taker. I think that I enjoyed youth genuinely. Like, I played with dolls. I stayed in the house and I played house and I played school and teacher. And I don't think every child was into that as long and as deeply as I was. But I think the fear of going out and taking the risk kept me inside. So my entertainment as a kid, I was a real true kid for a very long time.
I think that. Do you think that has something to do with your the way you were raised? You were raised to be with, because you have a lot of siblings. So
I did, but most of this play I'm talking about, I played alone. Make believe was like a big part of my life. I made, if it was bottles, they were people. If it was magazines, I cut out the people. But a lot of this stuff was alone. My mother supported it by making me a Barbie girl. I had all the Barbie, all the cars, all the houses, all the, Barbie, from the kid to the Ken to all of them. I had all the Barbies because I was very, very satisfied playing by myself. And so I think that fear kept me in the kid zone for a longer amount of time. Even relationships, I kind of brag about it in a way, like sexual relationships were in my mid-20s or more. So that is just, I wasn't fast at all. I was a kid, and I think that kid came from being, it supported my fear of having to take risk or do something the older kids were doing.
So, Deidre, what about your younger self?
I would say
Speak
I was
up now.
kind of
Let
like,
me hear you, because I'm really interested in hearing your younger self.
Why? Really? Why? I think that I was never trying to get gone too fast. I was kind of like both. Just like I feel like I was two sides because I played with dolls for the longest. When people around me was like, I can't wait to be grown. I was like, I don't ever want to be grown. I never wanted to be grown. I was you told my mom back when I was younger, so I was kind of pushed to grow up a little faster. But I would think that I was definitely a risk taker, spotting it. Like, you could be like, let's do this. I'd be like, let's do it. I was always like a goer because I had three brothers, three sisters. So on Fridays, on a Friday, I would be like, why am I sitting here? I need to be gone somewhere, over somebody's house. I don't care if it's my sister's house or my friend's house. I need to go. I was a goer. I was always ready to go. But but even within that, I feel that I think that I wish that I would have maybe believed in myself a little more because I would have did more. Mm-hmm. Like, I always wanted to move out of state. I always wanted to go. I was never like scared to try or, do something different. But I think that I was fearful of making mistakes. And I was also fearful of leaving my brothers and sisters because I felt like, that's all I got. If I go someplace else, what's going to happen? I just wish I would have done that. I just wish I would have done that younger. But as far as just doing things, oh yeah, I was always ready to do something. I was always ready to try something. I wasn't scared. I love to be spontaneous. Like, I hated it when somebody would be like, well, we can't do it because we needed to plan. I'll be like, let's just do it. Let's just go. So
what would your younger self say to your older self? Are you doing the same thing, and why not?
Now, I feel that, yeah, to some degree, I still feel like I'm more safe. I think that the older I've gotten now, I'm like try to stay safe. So I think that I'm doing it to some degree, but for different reasons.
But let me say this, you guys, and you all can attest because all of our children have been pretty much in the same boat. Generational wise, I think that's the way we were raised.
Yes,
to
I was
be
just gonna say that.
Safe, don't do too much. I remember when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to study abroad in France. And my grandmother was like, no, children have left and went places, and they just go like it ain't nothing. Oh, I think I'm gonna move to Georgia. Oh, I think I'm gonna move to California. Oh, and we looking like wow, because we wanted to do it. I think a lot of us wanted to, but we didn't think like that because our parents didn't push us to move out, go and try this.
Yes.
They were scared.
And now we say to our kids, go out, live your life, have a life,
And
try it, see what it's what, see the world.
That may be
Vicariously
because of
living through them is what.
exactly.
Yeah.
That may
What you
be
say?
because of
I
our
think we vicariously live through them.
Yes,
you
we
know,
do.
Yes.
Because I was so fascinated when Taryn decided to move, just pick up and move to
Right.
Georgia. I was
wanna be
so
Taryn when I
in
grow
awe
up.
of that.
Right.
I was so in awe of that because she didn't know nobody there, and for her, and even the same thing with Jill went
She didn't know
to.
nobody in Texas.
You don't know anybody, but you go there, and they live. Lyric wanted to just go, like she just recently she scheduled her flight to go to Louisiana to visit Jalen, and I'm like, okay, you. She was like, oh, this is my flight. This
She
is when I'll be
did it
home.
herself. Yes.
No problem. But
And
you know
Dallas
what?
said that he
And look at your daughter
he
going to
went to
Argentina.
Well, I am not surprised by my children at all because, I mean, I'm not surprised. You know, I'm not even wow because of the limitations that I wouldn't say that my parents held me back, and my mother definitely didn't. It was just me. Piggybacking on what you and Deetra said, I was a child for a long time, and I loved being a child. I was allowed to be a child. Some of it, though, I was an only child to my mom, and so I was very much into make-believe and pretend, which is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing when it goes too long. And mine went too long. And so that, a little bit, I'm not going to go down that line, but talking about what I said earlier, I kept waiting on things to just happen, because in my books, things just happened. In the shows I watched, they just happened. And then in my adult life, young adult life, I kept running into disappointment because I wasn't planning for it. I assumed things would happen. But talking about our children, I was not surprised by winter break because I raised them to do that. I planned for that. I set them on that road to going and doing whatever you want to do. Right down to, I encouraged them to go out of state for college. So I'm not shocked because I encouraged them from day one to go after, and not only did I encourage them to go after it, I set them up to be able to do it, to be armed with what they needed to do it. Education, street smarts, book smart. I set them up for that. But I will say this. They inspire and motivate me now at 57.
Yes.
It's taken all this time for me to go, I was, pushing and planning for them, and it's dawned on me in my 50s that I can do those things too.
Now,
Indeed.
to piggyback off of what you said, I agree with that. I believe that mine may have went too long because I did keep thinking something's going to happen. Something's going to happen that's going to make me do something different, and then like nothing was happening. So I do think that that's true. Going too long, I wouldn't have maybe phrased it that way, but when you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, I used to be waiting like something's gonna happen, and then I'm gonna know what to do. Something's gonna happen, I'm not going to do this, but I do also agree that I tried to set Dallas up to just know how to just function in this world, period. Now, of course, my motivation came from just my mom dying early, and I just wanted him to know what to do, know how to take care of himself, not be afraid, let him know that he could do anything, and I'll encourage it all. I guess I just didn't expect him to actually go and do it. So when he actually came out, I was like, I'm moving to New York. I was like, what? What do you mean? And he was like, I have to tell you, I found roommates. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. I mean, I was like, but I still encouraged. I never stopped him.
Right.
But I was like,
Taking it
wait,
back.
hold on, stop. You're moving too fast. Don't go yet. But
Let me tell you something funny. Tracy used to say that she envies Tracy, my sister. She used to say that she envied no, she was proud of me because I let Lyric do things that she would, as a mother, let her do. But my thing was, I was always independent when I was, when I was younger. I was always independent. I always wanted to do stuff on my own. I always wanted, and then with me being the oldest, I always was the one that everybody looked to do this, to do that. Well, one day Lyric had to go to Pontiac to take her books back because she was a dual student, enrollment student, and she was going to OCC plus going to high school. But she had to take her books back, but she had to take them back to Pontiac, and I couldn't take her. I had to work. And the car we had was it was an old car. But Lyric, what was funny is Lyric knew how to put brake fluid in this car. Lyric knew how to put oil in this car, and she knew how to put coolant in the car. So she had done all of that before she drove all the way out to Pontiac to go return her books. And Tracy kept saying, Shell, oh my God, I know you didn't let her drive. Oh my God, has she made it back? Has she home? I said, oh, she'll be okay. She'll be home. She like an old lady. She'll go. And then but ever since then, she would tell me, she was like, I love how you have the courage to let her do those things without being worried. I said, because if I don't, what happens if something happened to me tomorrow and she's not ready or equipped to take care of herself? I wanted her to be independent, so independent now that it gets on my nerve because now she don't want you to help her with nothing. She don't need you to do nothing. Yeah. But like her, for instance, her getting her first job, you need something? Do you want me to get this? Because we raised her to know this is what's going to happen. If we leave here, you're going to need to know how to pay this. You're going to need to get this for yourself. All those things.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And see,
no, go ahead.
And going back to, like you said, your older self and your younger self, see, the young people need to realize, too, that we have the TikTok, the internet. Folks should never need nothing. And all you gotta do is say it. You just gotta know how to say it right. Now you do have to know how to say it correctly. You do have to do a little bit of research. But to me, if my younger self
had all
the
this
technology,
we had that.
I wouldn't even be afraid because all I do is look it up.
Right.
She did. She would have everything. I still got them encyclopedias.
Let me look at Britannica.
Yeah.
But that's
I
what
think we had the green one. What's the green? They were green and
ours
black.
was burgundy.
Yep, ours
Ours
was
Older stuff and younger stuff.
And we had burgundy set. My mama had the burgundy.
I think we had both of them.
Yeah, my grandma had the green one. My mama had the burgundy.
Like Candy said, the door-to-door sales.
They used to sell you the encyclopedia.
Yes.
But if ever the internet go down, I
We
still
got them
got my
encyclopedia. Now that knowledge may be a little outdated, but we probably can still use a little
Look, they
bit.
trying to take away history. That's our history books.
That is true.
Yeah.
And speaking of your children,
topic.
you know how you spoke of Lyric being able to go to Pontiac and not work. Jillian used to drive to driver's training. Her teacher used to say, "Here comes the girl that drives to driver's training." Because I couldn't take her, I had to work. And I didn't want her on the bus at that time by herself. I was like, just take my car because
So you taught your kids to be illegal.
No, I did. I can't lie
But
about
they
it.
give them the little certificate.
That's that
Yeah, but she
risk
wasn't supposed to be driving without an adult in the car. Her teacher, here comes to the girl that drives to driver's training.
That's that risk taking versus.
I had to. I was
would've
at
been scared she
work.
was gonna get
But
stopped.
see, I was at work, and I could
That was
not
the reason.
take her, and I
That was
didn't have the
the only time,
resource for somebody else to take her, and I didn't
Yes.
want her to miss her. So I'm like, now Callie, on the other hand, you can't take my car. Because that nigga don't drive right. I'm just going to tell you right now. That back then she did, and she probably still don't. But Jill, on the other hand, she drove safe. She was careful. Callie she gone. But Jill didn't do that, so I trusted her. And he used to laugh. And I said, thank you for not getting us in trouble. Because, he could have told on her. This girl driving with no adult in the car,
Yeah, our younger selves thought that we were going to have instructions when with getting older. But we don't have, and there's no instruction, and some of us, quiet as kept, is still trying to figure life out.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I
At
think
this moment.
that's a lifetime. I think that's a lifetime. And I didn't.
Yeah, it's a lifetime thing.
Yeah, and I wasn't waiting on instructions. I did not have, and I'm not blaming anyone, just for myself, and it's the reason I raised my girls the way I did. I just did not have the realistic tools when I entered adulthood, and I was winging it, and I winged it for a very long time, and so my goal, and you all know that I do emotional therapy, it has been to stop winging my life, and so my word became in 2022 intentional. I don't do resolutions anymore. I just try and be intentional because I don't, I've taken off the rose-colored glasses. And let me be clear, you can make those decisions, but you are who you are. So it happens to me, but then I'd have to stop and go, are we looking at this realistically? But I'm just trying not to wing life anymore and be intentional about it so that I'm getting the best quality life. Because I was winging it. I winged into my marriage. I winged into my children. I winged it, and I during that winging, I was waiting on things to just, and I kept being disappointed, when it didn't happen. Wasn't going to happen without a plan.
So let's do this. Let's have some conversations. Each one of us will be the older self, and the other person will be the younger self. So I'm going to be the younger person, and you can go ahead, you be the older person.
Okay.
And then so on and so forth. So my question to you, as the younger person, is why didn't we push harder?
Why didn't we push harder? I was not disciplined, and I can honestly say that. And it's going back to my girls. I made sure they were, because I lacked discipline. I didn't go to college because I didn't finish college because I lacked discipline to finish college. I didn't follow through on certain things for lack of discipline.
That's deep.
I
That's
wanted
true.
things that I wasn't disciplined to do.
That's deep, because I feel that so much, because that's why I'm now back in school trying to finish getting that degree, because I wasn't disciplined enough to stay and get my degree. And like you say, your girls inspire you. Lyric inspires me so much that every time I think about I want to stop or quit, that you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah. So what is which two you gonna be?
You said
The younger person or the older
Yeah,
person?
the younger person
With
is
the
asking
same
the older
question.
person a
Just
question.
a different question.
Or, yeah.
I want to be old.
Okay, so now speak loud and clear so we
But
can
you have
hear
some
you.
questions,
What's your
or-
question? Or you want to keep the same question? Why didn't you push harder? Oh, the younger person's asking the younger.
Why did I push harder?
Or why did?
Why did she
Yes.
push
Why
harder?
didn't the older?
Younger,
Why
right?
as a younger
Oh,
person?
so me, why did I push harder?
No,
Why
you're
did-
asking her why.
Yeah,
did
why
she push?
didn't you push harder, ma'am?
Because she's the older.
In regards to, because I think I'm very pushy.
Okay, well, why didn't you push harder? We know you pushed hard because you completed your 4-year degree, you got your master's and all of that. But why didn't you push harder?
Oh, well, okay, so I was supposed to be a doctor.
So why didn't you push
Because
harder?
I didn't like school.
Well,
Even
you
though
could've
I mean,
fooled us.
I know as much as the stuff,
As
but
much
I
school.
think most of that. I mean, if I was to start over, I think I would have went to art. I would have
Really?
went to New York. I would have did artistic stuff.
Okay.
So, in regards to pushing harder, I probably would have did my creative side more than the education side, because now I know that that's always going to be there. I could always go back to school. People been still going to school, getting doctorates and stuff like that. So that's why I'm trying to, even though I would love for my child to go to college and things like that, but honestly, find your art side, find your trade side. You can always go back to school, because after a while you're kind of tired of school. I think I was tired of school. So I think if I would have pushed, why did I push? I would have pushed harder on the artistic side versus the educational side.
That's a good way to look at it.
All right, so you two.
Besides that, school is not
For
everybody, right.
everyone.
Right.
Why you didn't push harder, Deidre?
So I'm Noel.
The
Which
older
one you
person.
want to be? Yes,
Why
you
not
push
push harder? I think it's similar. It's very similar to Mickey's. I think that one. I think I was trying to be. I had 6 people trying to have input in my life. You know, my mom. So everybody wanted to have a hand in raising me, and I just think that kind of it made me. First of all, he was already indecisive. It made me even more indecisive. Like I was scared to make a mistake because I was always expected to make a good decision. So I think that stifled me in a lot of ways and lack of discipline and being allowed to just do whatever I wanted to do because I was kind of like the good kid. So I didn't have curfews. I was hanging out real young, late. And they just always expected me to make the right decision. But it also, within that, it made me scared to make the wrong decision. And it kind of just stifled me. Like, I don't know, what if I do?
scared.
Yeah. That's why I said I was very not scared. I wanted to take a risk. I was like, dual, but I was also scared. That might not be the right decision. What if
Yeah.
it's not that? And it kind of just froze me. So that's why I went to college, didn't finish because lack of discipline. So.
And being indecisive will make you frozen.
Yes,
It
and
will
I
freeze you
think
in
it's
place.
frozen.
One of the things I've learned, and it's just through my therapist, is she, because I'm a little OCD and a little bit of a perfectionist, and I use a tool that she taught me. She said, when you can't decide, she said, do something. Because
Right.
once you
That's what
do
my sister was
something,
saying.
and she's right. Even
It'll move you.
it moves
Yes.
you.
Yeah, it'll move you.
And until I had that tool, I would just be frozen.
That's so true.
Yeah.
My sister Don used to say that. She says that to me even today because I still have it.
Do
in me.
something.
And she be like, just do something.
Yeah.
And stop thinking about it. Just do it.
Get your engine started.
Yeah, do something. And once I do something, it moves me. It keeps me,
It does move you. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, every version of you, even the unsure part of you, did what you knew how to do best with what you had. So what I want you to do is honor that.
Okay.
Now, if you all could reflect with me, and if you could send a 1-minute voice note to your younger self, what would that be?
a 1-minute voice note to myself. Do something. Write it down. Make a plan. Don't assume something's going to just happen. Make a plan. And when you make that plan, do something to activate it. You don't have to do it all at once, because I am that person that I make a plan and it's all the 30 things are there and I can't decide what to do. Make that plan, pick something, and move on it.
What about you, Sherry?
Yes.
Well, if I could say one thing to my younger self, it would be relax. Just let it go. Let the chips fall where they may. Because what I found as being the older I've gotten more calmer. When I was younger, I was more and excited, would jump off at anything. Even had a really bad temper being younger. But now, the older I've gotten more calmer.
You definitely have.
No.
Well,
Indeed.
listen, I'm coming to get you if somebody mess with me, so hold on to some of that. Hold on to some of
See,
that.
what can I say to my younger self? Younger self should have been a little bit more organized.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I was like all over the place. Knowing, like you said, you had so many things going on in your head. You need to organize it. Get it, like you said, pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
so chaotic.
Yes.
What I would say to my younger self is stop worrying about being so strong. I had a lot of loss at a very young age, and so it made me, as a young person, not feel very stoic, because I didn't want to. I had to be strong for those around me, for my family, and for my kids. So I didn't cry. So it made me very...
So it's almost like you emotionless.
Correct. Correct. And I don't like that. You know, I don't necessarily want to be that way. Because I tell somebody, man, stop all that crying. But sometimes you need to cry.
Yes.
Sometimes you need to feel
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You know, but I didn't do that because I always had to be strong at a young age for everybody around me. So I was saying that, no, stop worrying about being so strong. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like screaming, scream. If you, whatever that feeling is, don't hold it in trying to be strong for somebody.
All right.
Well, I would, for my younger self, I'd probably get down on her level and ask her, what are you afraid of? That's what I would do. And as an older person, what I've learned, and I've kind of, and it's a simple thing, and it's something somebody told me and it just stayed with me, is don't expect things to go wrong. Expect things to go right.
Yes.
Indeed.
It's a simple
like
thing,
that.
but I think I move expecting things to go wrong. So I would say expect it to go right. Yeah, it's a mental.
Right.
It's like a shift.
A protection.
Yes,
Trying to protect
yeah.
yourself.
If it goes wrong, I was already.
I was already
Yes.
ready for it,
So.
yeah.
Which will keep you from doing the things you
Exactly.
want to do.
It'll keep
Yes.
you in a state of fear.
Exactly.
That's what I would tell them.
I would say focus on you and not everybody else. Focus on you. Because if I would have probably had a little bit more focus just on me and not everybody else, I would probably have did a lot more things that I wanted to do.
Right.
And we've learned that at this age, it's not selfish to sometimes focus
Right.
on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we spend a lot of time focusing on
Everybody
others
else, yeah.
for a long time.
Well, I want to say wherever you at in your life, honor that. The part of you that survived everything that you've been through. Honor that. Because we don't do that often. We don't do that enough. We're so busy, and I know for me, I was so hard on myself and down on myself about a lot of things for so long. But the older I've gotten, I'm learning to honor me, to be happy with me, you know?
Yes.
So just know that you're not aging out of life. You're just getting older. That's it.
You get older, and you know, you said something, or someone said something earlier. You know, when you know better, you do better. Or no, that wasn't what it was. At the time, you were doing the best you could with
Yes.
what the knowledge you
knew.
had.
Yes.
You know, and what I am working on, and because I'm not completely there, is forgiving myself for, because I spent a lot of time beating myself up. You know, reliving the past. And I'm not talking about even major things, but reliving things. And I should have did this. I should have did that. And just I have to let that go. You can't fix it. You
Right.
can't go back and change it. And you have to give yourself. I'm working on giving myself grace. You know, and being kinder to myself, and even forgiving myself, and releasing it. Because all those things will keep you from your now joy.
Yes.
Stuff that you can't repair or that you can't do over anyway.
That's true.
All right. Well, thank you for listening today and joining us with our cocktails for this episode of Sip'n Sistaz Then versus Now. Don't forget to go to our website, Sip'nSistaz.com. We also have a YouTube channel, which is Sip'n Sistaz Podcast on YouTube. Check us out, and we'll see you next time. And until then, cheers!